Hello, welcome again to FAIRtax Power Radio. I'm Bob Paxton.
And I'm Ron Malero.
And we are, get it,
the FAIRtax Guys.
We are coming to you live today from Big Daddy Studios in Gainesville, Florida, streaming live on the Facebook FAIRtax official page, also on excluded.tv, but it is 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday, February the 20th. So if you're watching calendar or in correspondence with that right there, you are catching us live. I got a tickle in my throat. Uh-oh. And you can give us a call at 1-888-787-8023, 888-787-8023 if you'd like to talk to us live here on the program. Got some really good questions last week when we came on live.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah, when we were on live 2 weeks ago. And yeah, because we're on live every other week, except for the next upcoming month, because we've got some schedule conflicts. We'll be live again about a month from now on March 20th.
Yeah.
But we will be here every Wednesday as usual. The video portion will be pre-recorded. But as it streams on Facebook, we will be taking live comments to the extent that we'll be here.
So we encourage you to call in. How are we going to get started? Well,
I'll tell you what, let's get started by giving people our email address, thefairtaxguys@gmail.com. thefairtaxguys@gmail.com. We've got some information there that we're going to respond to that came into that email address. You can also leave us a comment on our Facebook page, the FAIRtax Guys Facebook page. Even though this video is streaming live on the FAIRtax official Facebook page, it'll be shared over there, and we'll see it anyway. But you can leave us a comment on the FAIRtaxGuys@gmail.com or the FAIRtax Guys Facebook page. And we've got some good stuff to get to. But first, we have a contest to deal with.
That's right. That's right. We started this.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah. Somebody sent, I saw a comment somewhere, IRS motto, never let hard work go unpunished. And I thought, yeah, that's about the way it is with the IRS and the tax code. But, you know, I wonder if other people have other ideas. And so we decided, hey, let's do an IRS motto contest. Now, admittedly, we haven't had a lot of submissions here, so we need to get...
We just started getting this going, so hopefully we'll get some submissions on this. Now, you know what my favorite one is.
What's that?
What Bill of Rights?
Yeah. That's actually not a laughing matter. But, yeah, the IRS just ignores the Bill of Rights, and they've been authorized to do that by our friends in Congress. So what Bill of Rights? Another one that I've heard before, I can't take credit for this, is we have what it takes to take what you have. It's another motto for the IRS.
So you can't use any of those, but if you'd like to come up with your own motto for what the IRS is and how they operate, we'd love to hear from you. Again, you can contact us at the FAIRtaxGuys@gmail.com or leave your submission on the FAIRtax Guys Facebook page. And what we ought to do, Ron, we ought to get Rudy to pony up like $10, $15 worth of stuff out of the FAIRtax logo store for whoever wins the contest here.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, I think the president will go along with that. The president of the Florida FAIRtax. I think that's a dandy idea.
Randy's got a good one. He says what's theirs is theirs and what's yours is theirs. And the way it's spelled, of course, the IRS together spells theirs. So that works. Submit your ideas. Good job, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. So anyway, see what you can come up with. I mean, you can do it live on Facebook. You can email it to us. You know, whatever.
All right. Now, if you're listening live, you can call us 888-787-8023. We'll take them live over the phone as well. And y'all, excuse me, I've got this tickle in my throat that won't go away.
You're going to have to just talk through it.
Yep. Drink a lot of water here. Excuse me.
All right. So the IRS motto contest. Okay. What do you want to do next? You want to do this email we got from somebody?
Yes. Let's do that.
All right. We did get a nice email from somebody. Dear FAIRtax Guys, my wife and I are retired, but not old enough to qualify for Medicare. Last year, 2018, we spent over $13,000 on medical insurance premiums. Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah, almost
that's over $1,000 a month for crying out loud.
Yeah, almost 22% of their entire 2018 spending. All right. I understand medical insurance premiums are taxable under the fair tax. That's true. We don't spend much, but we would have made out worse under the fair tax. No, I'm going to dispel that theory. Okay. Don't want to complain, but until we reach 65, the current tax system seems to be a better deal. No. All right. So we checked with a few people, a few of the experts, and this is the response that I sent them. Dear Michael and Ann, It seems that the high cost of medical insurance is a large issue for your, in your family finances. At least part of the reason for that is the politics of health insurance in the U.S. Shouldn't be a political issue, but unfortunately it is. Is Obamacare actually doing what was promised? Apparently for this couple, it's not. For many, the answer is no, and the solution is beyond the scope of the fair tax. However, I can tell you that when the fair tax replaces the income tax, the cost of doing business, which includes the cost of doing healthcare business, will come down. All right, we've talked about compliance costs and so forth. Those compliance costs come way down. The cost of doing business comes down. Okay. Another benefit of the fair tax is that your retirement distribution will not be taxed. You will get your entire retirement distribution. Okay. So I'm not sure how much of a raise that's going to be for you, but you will get that. Plus, you get the prebate, and according to the 2019 prebate schedule, a two-household couple, a two-person household,
there you go,
couple will get $479 a month. That's got to help. Okay, the interest and dividends on your retirement investments will not be taxed. So all of these factors together should leave you at least in as good a shape as you are now, if not better. Yeah, it's true that when you're 65, and Medicare kicks in, that will reduce, what seems to be the largest expense in your family's expense scenario. But there's a lot of things to consider there. The cost of giving health care and health insurance will come down because the cost of doing all business will be coming down because of the drop in compliance costs. So,
yeah, but Randy notes that every dime you spend today on doctors and medicines includes, 18 to 24%. The embedded cost of the tax system that's being passed in. I mean, healthcare is no different than any other, goods and services. Mm-hmm. About 22% is on the average. On some places it's higher, some places it's lower. Mm-hmm. But on average, about 22% of the cost of everything that you buy, from a bottle of aspirin, clean up to, the most expensive surgery you can find, 22% of that is the cost of the tax, because what the doctor charges in fees, he has to report his taxable income. Some of that ends up at the IRS.
Yeah.
So a lot of the cost of what we're buying now, goods and services, is the cost of the tax liability and the enormous, we've touched on this all the time, the enormous compliance costs that businesses have to put up with in order just to comply with the tax code. Those costs of doing business get rolled right into the prices that we, the ultimate consumers, pay. And the medical field is no different than any other business in that regard.
Yeah, and if you want a better explanation of the cost of doing business, and the compliance costs, read either one of these books, all right? The white book or the red book. I'm actually rereading the red book right now, and I just went through the chapter where they talked about that. And I remember when I first read the white book when it came out in 2005, and I thought, wow, that really makes sense. I didn't realize it was that bad. Yeah, but the cost of doing business due to the tax code is very high, and a lot of that will be mitigated by the fair tax.
I saw something on Facebook this past week where somebody was writing what they thought was a really critical article. Oh, this is terrible. Amazon is paying no federal income taxes on billions of dollars worth of profit. And people have got the erroneous idea that if businesses pay more in taxes, that individuals, have less of the load to carry. Now, it may be you have to write a somewhat smaller check to the IRS, but the cost of doing business, all of that tax liability, and again, all of the compliance costs that Amazon goes, what do you think it cost Amazon to come up with that massive tax return that says they owe nothing?
Millions.
Those costs are going to be passed on to everything we got. So 0 is the correct rate for businesses to pay. There should be no corporate income tax because that cost just gets rolled on to the consumer anyway. Why make it tougher for business, lower the cost of doing business, let the competition in a free market economy drive prices down even farther?
Plus, the fact that Amazon paid no taxes legally is a statement of the inefficiency and the way Congress picks winners and losers of the current tax code, all right, they're doing it legally. They're not doing anything illegal. Congress has put all these caveats and these loopholes and deductions and exemptions and so forth in there, and obviously Amazon has a bunch of tax attorneys. They probably have divisions of tax attorneys and CPAs to figure out how to structure their business so they can legally reduce their tax burden. And they're doing it legally because that's the tax code that Congress has given us. Remember, half of the people in Congress are millionaires. They put a lot of loopholes in there to help themselves. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there because half of these people are millionaires and they want to protect their funds, you know, their wealth. And so they put these loopholes in there for themselves. It's not a good situation. The best result, you know, the best thing we could do is get rid of this crazy income tax and go with the fair tax.
Absolutely. Well,
which is what we're all about.
I did my income tax return this past week. Sat down in front of my little computer with the TurboTax running on it. Yeah. And it didn't take quite as long this year as last year. Last year it took close to 2 hours. This year it only took about an hour and a half to go through all the. They have streamlined. I got to give TurboTax a little. This is not a commercial for them, but got a little kudos. They have kind of streamlined the process of figuring out whether you need to itemize or whether the standard deduction is the best thing to do for you.
Oh, that's good.
It used to be they'd ask you, how'd you spend on this? What'd you spend on this? What'd you spend on this?
Yeah.
Now they just ask you a little multiple choice questions. How much did you spend on medical? This, or this? You know, this range, and you answer those ranges pretty quick, and then it says, oh yeah, you need to take the standard deduction.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
It took about 10 minutes to figure it out rather than longer than that last time.
I haven't even downloaded the software yet. I'm really, I got to get going on that. But anyways, thanks a lot. There was something that I want to briefly mention. I've seen there's a group of FAIRtax volunteers around the country, FAIRtax leaders that kind of, you know, talk to each other about certain issues. And I saw one person said, well, he heard from somebody that said, I'm not contributing to FAIRtax anymore because I haven't seen anything happening. That's understandable, but it's disappointing at the same time. Well, I would ask a couple of questions. Where have you not seen anything happening? In Washington? I mean, take a look at what's going on in Washington. We have a House in which they are bitterly, diametrically opposed to the White House and President Trump. Does anybody think that substantial tax reform is going to take place in the next 2 years?
No, but they're going to be after Trump's tax returns, and hopefully we can convince him that it's the best interest of everyone involved to have a system where there aren't any tax returns.
So if you want, getting back to this guy, if you want to see something happening in as far as the FAIRtax goes, I encourage you to subscribe to FAIRtax Friday. Go on to fairtax.org or bigsolution.org. Make sure your name is in there so you get the FAIRtax Friday, which comes out mostly on Friday, sometimes Saturday. And go to the Grassroots Corner that Jim Bennett does. Now, we had Jim as a guest on this show, I don't know, a couple of months ago, it seems like now. And he's going to be back next month because he's going to be here in Florida.
Excellent.
Okay? And Jim does the Grassroots Corner, and he finds people all over the country and what they're doing to promote the FAIRtax. So I would encourage this person, take a look at Jim Bennett's Grassroots Corner in the FAIRtax Friday that comes out every Friday, and you will see that in spite of the deadlock that's in Washington, D.C., inside the Beltway, FAIRtax fans, FAIRtax volunteers are very busy all over. I know I am, and Bob is, and a lot of people are.
Yeah, we got a comment on our Facebook stream here, Hani Nasrallah. President Trump should run on FAIRtax in 2020. Well, if they start parading his tax returns out for the world to see, maybe we can convince him that a system where there aren't any tax returns is better than one where the government has all this information on you and it can be dug up and leaked against you.
And I got to ask Randy, I think that this divulging people's personal tax returns, all right, isn't that a violation of the Fourth Amendment? Is it the Fourth Amendment, you know, that protects you against that type of thing? So anyways, Randy will give us an answer on that in a second. But there's all kinds of things that this tax code violates just violates all kinds of issues in the Bill of Rights.
What Bill of Rights?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
what Bill of Rights, yeah.
Again, that is my IRS motto. What Bill of Rights?
Yeah.
So if you got one, we'd like to hear about it. You can give us a call here at 787-8023, area 888. God, this is killing me.
You're having a tough time there.
888-787-8023.
All right, well, let's do a legislative update, okay? Congress.gov. If you go to Congress.gov and in the search bar you type in quotes, Internal Revenue Code. The reason you have to put it in quotes, and it searches for all legislation that contains that string, Internal Revenue Code, because most of the bills that there are to amend the tax code start with to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. Okay, so if you put in Internal Revenue Code in quotes, you'll get up. Now, I looked a little while ago. There are 229 bills so far to amend the Internal Revenue Code. I also did a little search on the congressional calendar, all right? What is the congressional calendar? Well, I found I think the website was rollcall.com, and they gave up a nice graphic. Congress is off this week, okay? They're home talking to their constituents and things like that. That's good. They need to do that. But the House has been in session 21 days. 21 days, 229 proposals to change the tax code. That's more than 10 proposals per day that they're in session to change the tax code. And some of these are real lulus, aren't they?
Oh, yes. I found a really good one here. H.R. 1297. Which was introduced on the 15th, let's see, just about 5 days ago, to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, excuse me, to include armor-piercing concealable weapons within the definition of firearm under the National Firearms. Anybody got a concealed carry permit for a bazooka? I mean, armor-piercing concealable weapons, figure that out. I guess that's for bad guys that wear body armor.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and how about this one here from Senator Bob Menendez, okay? S. 437, a bill to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to repeal the dollar limitation on the deduction for state and local taxes and restore the 39.6% individual income tax bracket. So he wants to do two things with the tax code. He wants the personal income tax bracket to go up to 39.6 that it was before. That's for the wealthiest of the big spenders, the big earners, and the big spenders. But at the same time, he wants to reinstate the full deduction for state and local taxes. For years, what you pay in state and local taxes has been deductible on your federal income tax return. And with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017, they put a cap on that. What was it, $10,000?
I think so,
right?
yeah.
So in places like New York and New Jersey, where you got some big spenders, big earners, that's a problem because...
And some big state income taxes.
Yes, and they do pay a lot more than that for state and local income taxes. Well, isn't that a problem that the states they live in have very high local taxes?
Yeah,
I've said it before.
They want the rest of you to subsidize their high state taxes.
So Senator Menendez wants to fix the tax code with those two things. That's just they're.
Here's another one, H.R. 1294. This is how the federal government wants to run your business. To amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to deny the deduction for executive compensation unless the employer makes profit-sharing distributions for employees. If you don't share your money, you don't get a deduction.
Yeah, we really want the federal government getting into everybody's business and telling them how to run their business because, the federal government does such a fine job with their finances, don't
do they ever?
I mean, they're not in debt or anything like that, are they?
No.
Nah.
I like this one, too, H.R. 1295, to amend the Internal Revenue Code to expand the availability of penalty-free distributions to unemployed individuals from retirement plans. Now, wait a minute. Last time I looked, by definition, retirement means you are no longer employed.
So, yeah, all these proposals. Now, these are proposals. And fortunately, very few of them will become law. And I think for the current Congress, I think very few of them will become law, because I don't think the president's going to be inclined to sign too much into law of what the House passes. You know, of course, it's got to pass the Senate too, and then they got to have a reconciliation. But
yeah, well, I'll tell you what, time's almost getting away from us here on this episode. There is something I definitely want to get into.
Yeah,
this happened right here in Florida. We found this. Now, you talk about the wonderful competence of the government and the IRS. Listen to this. There's a guy in Florida here that claimed about $18,000 worth of income on his income tax return.
His income, his annual income,
he reported $18,000 worth of income. He got a refund check for $980,000. Now, how do you get a $980,000? Now, remember, what you get back, your income tax refund, is how much withholding exceeds your tax liability. So this guy's withholding not only exceeded his tax liability, it exceeded his entire income by a factor of, I hadn't figured it out yet, but it's a bunch. But you would think.
He claimed $1 million was withheld from his $18,000.
One of the W-2 forms that he got actually had that mistake on it. So he filed the thing. He said, I've got this much income. I've had this much withheld. I've had a lot more withheld than I actually made. And the IRS computer just says, okay, I'll send you a refund for $900. They did eventually figure it out that they had messed up and got most of it back.
Okay, let me go back to my role.
I'm a computer programmer. I know how easy it would be to catch something like that. Program a computer to catch that. Now, you want to go back to what?
My role as defending the income tax, and criticizing it, as I did a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Go for it.
A role which I didn't. Well, the same thing will happen under the fair tax. I mean, they'll go into the store, and they'll probably end up paying little or nothing at all, or, whatever.
The fair tax is included in the price tag that you pay for your goods and services.
Yeah.
There
Things
is
like
no withholding. You don't have a withholding to try to exceed your tax liability. Your prebate, we talk about here a lot on Fair Tax Power Radio, is your tax refund under the fair tax. It is your money given back to you that was collected from that you don't owe, because, again, you do not owe any taxes until your spending exceeds the poverty level. And since it's impossible to keep track of everybody's spending, we just figure, okay, we'll give you back the refund, assuming you're going to spend up to the poverty level, which is a pretty good assumption in just about every case.
Yeah. You're not going to have problems like that under the fair tax because it's so simple.
But think about it, $980,000 refund on $18,000 worth of income.
Here's a comment from Steven Suarez. Competent government, oxymoron.
Oh, yeah. That's so true. Yeah. And Randy here says it's so idiotic because he calculated his tax as $20,000 on his $18,000 income. I made $18,000, $20,000 of it is taxable. There ought to be an attorney somewhere that can just take the IRS to court and tear their guts out.
How does that happen?
Like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anyways, all right.
But it does happen, and it does. Every proposal has a bucket of lobbyist money backing it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Sandy's with us. Good morning. Hello, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
Hadn't seen Sandy this morning, and Stephen Suarez, competent government is an oxymoron.
Oh, Sandy has a good comment here.
Okay.
Many opposers of the fair tax do so out of wealth envy.
And she also says the guy must have had a lot of kids. Child tax credit, the refundable tax credit you get for having kids. I tell you what.
Yeah, he's supporting a lot of kids on $18,000 a year.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyways.
Oh, that was fun. I couldn't let that go.
Oh, yeah. Bob sent that over, and I thought, oh, yeah, that's going to be one of the first things on this week's episode, which is quickly winding down here. But anyways, I got this article here from the Tax Foundation. High tax rate on star inventors lowers total innovation. A recent paper by economists, now I'm going to try to get through these names, all right? Alexander Bell, not Alexander Graham Bell.
That shouldn't be too difficult.
Alexander Bell, Raz Jetty, Xavier Jaravel Navani, I'm sorry, I'm not going to murder these names. Anyways, uses new data to examine how tax policies affect innovation. The authors show that while tax policy is not the only determining factor influencing innovative activity, taxes have a greater impact. Going further, other barriers such as complexity and structure of the tax code may impact the level of innovation. And there's a little more to the article, but essentially what they're saying is the tax complexity and the high cost of taxes, with the compliance costs and everything, stifle innovation. You don't want to do that. You want innovation because innovation sometimes spurs new businesses, and new businesses create more jobs.
Indeed.
So the tax code is hurting us again in another way. All right.
It is.
The Tax Foundation, by the way, has a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
I get a lot of stuff.
We'll get
from
into
them.
more of that on our next episode here at FairtaX Power Radio. We are just about out of time here. Let's remind everybody again of our IRS motto contest.
Yeah.
I'm going with what Bill of Rights, and you're going with what? We have what it takes.
We have what it takes to take what you have.
But if you have a motto for the IRS, give us a call or give us an email, the FairtaxGuys@gmail.com. Put it on our Facebook page, and if I have to dig $10, $15 out of my own pocket to get the winner something from the FairTax logo store, we will do that.
I'm pretty sure the Florida FairTax Educational Association will pony up some kind of a gift for,
okay, well,
for
you got about 2 minutes to see what's available out of the logo
first
store,
off,
including these. I love this thing.
Scrolling banners. Take this to your town hall, especially if your congressman is not a co-sponsor of the FairTax. And what is it? Just what is it that you love about the IRS? But the FairtaxLogoStore.org, FairtaxLogoStore.org, show your support for the FairTax by purchasing. You can get, these. I've told you about these information cards. Okay,
they're being
buy a box of them.
They're going to redesign those things so it's problems on one side and solutions on the other. If I'm not mistaken.
And that's going to be good. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. We're going to. But that's going to be good. Right now, we're just going to update it. By the way, we still don't have a Senate bill. There's things going on with the Senate. The shutdown had one effect on it. AFFT is looking for maybe a different co-sponsor. But these little cards, they're what we call the prebate cards. It's a business-sized card. FairTax information on one side, the prebate schedule on the back side. Very popular item because people love to see what they're going to get. I mean, they look over on the right-hand side here. Mom and dad and 2 kids, $648 a month. Woohoo! That's attractive to a lot of people. But there are pins. These things are very good for, my wife straps these she puts these on the strap of her purse. Pens, hats, shirts, umbrellas, little lunch totes and so forth, all kinds of stuff. Go on FairtaxLogoStore.org, purchase something, and visibly demonstrate your support for the FairTax.
Oh, Sandy's got a good idea. Put the FairTax logo on a wanted poster.
That's a great idea.
Wanted the FairTax.
Wanted the FairTax.
That'll work. Hey, we'll have to work on that, Sandy.
Yeah. I love it.
All right.
Our listeners have such great ideas.
Indeed. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of FairTax Power Radio. Thank you so much for listening. We will be live again 1 month from today. We will be on as usual with pre-recorded shows for the next 3 weeks. We've got some schedule conflicts that we've got to work around, but we will be streaming live as usual for the next 3 weeks on the FairTax official page and on excluded.tv. Hope you can join us then. Until then, I'm Bob Paxton.
And I'm Ron Molero.
We are the FairTax Guys, reminding you that the FairTax is America's big solution, and once you understand it,
you'll demand it.
Oh, these income tax forms are way too complicated. There's got to be a better way. Who are you?
We're the FairTax Guys.
We've got a big solution for you.
What's that?
It's the FairTax. Completely eliminates the federal income tax system as we know it. No more withholding, no more payroll taxes, no more tax returns ever, no more IRS. All gone. And I guarantee you, once you understand it,
you'll demand it.
Yeah.